If you look at what's happening today and what's been happening for the last 40, even 50 years, is the gradual and consistent eradication of Western Christian culture. And this is not an accident. This is intentional. It's followed a process, and it has continued over time. The people who started it are long dead, but their program has been picked up by their successors. And it's important to understand that this permeates every aspect of the culture. There's nothing that's safe from it, and in fact, other cultures are not even safe from it. On the blog today, one of the things I noted, you may have seen, is the attack on the Japanese anime subculture. And why would anyone think that imposing SJW standards on Japanese culture is appropriate? It's ridiculous, right? Yeah, I mean, we are at the far end of that long march through the institutions, but it's not just what you think of. It's not just the Gramscians and so forth. That is one level of it, but it's not the deepest level. I'm not claiming to know what the deepest level is, but what I do know, what I have seen, is that the overarching focus is the war on Christianity. A lot of this other stuff is really just mopping up action. And the reason that they continue their program is because they don't have any other purpose. They don't know any other way. They can't build. They can't create. All they can do is subvert, invert, and pervert. That's what they do. It's like when you say, well, why do SJWs subvert? Why do they invert? Why do they even pay attention to things that they don't like? And the reason is very simple. It's like asking bacteria why they multiply. It's like asking a llama why it eats whatever llamas eat. It's asking a dog why he chases a rabbit. They can't tell you why. Whatever they happen to tell you, it's not the actual reason. It's just a rationalization. And so this long-term subversion of Western Christian culture, goes back centuries, but you can trace it and see how it played out in the United States very easily. And the thing that was a little bit painful to me in realizing this was some of the observations that I made, some of the conclusions that I reached, condemned things that I personally valued. I'll give you an example. My favorite Christmas carol since I was a kid is the song Silver Bells. Always loved it. I identified, going to Rosedale, and especially going to Southdale, and occasionally going downtown to Dayton's and so forth, and the whole was that all of the songwriting, White Christmas, Silver Bells, a lot of these classic songs about secular Christmas were intentionally written and pushed by non-Christians who wanted to de-christianize Christmas. They wanted to literally take Jesus Christ out of Christmas. And so what they did was they attempted to replace the songs of praise, Adeste Fideles, Little Town of Bethlehem, A Little Drummer Boy, all these great Christian songs were to some extent successfully replaced by the secular stuff. That was the first step. That was the subversion. Then you get to the inversive stage where they begin to start trying to substitute Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and all these other nonsense fake holidays that are not American holidays. They're not even serious holidays, real holidays, practiced as the sort of deeply meaningful spiritual holiday that is practiced at Christmas by Christians. And it's that's not to say that Hanukkah is not a actual celebration. It is, but it is not at all the alternative equivalent to Christmas that it was portrayed as to my generation. And so this constant subversion, inversion, and now we're of course at the perversion stage, is part of this long-running cultural war. So what do you do? Well, conservatives think that you play defense. Conservatives think that you just, just try to keep doing what you're doing and hope for the best and wish that they'll leave you alone. Never going to happen. It's literally never going to happen. And so what we have done, what we have done at Castelia and Infogalactic and all these other projects that you've seen, unauthorized and so forth, what we've done, you see these manufactured celebs doing all this, it's all about you, it's all about the fans, which is of course total bullshit, because they're completely manufactured people who don't actually need any fans at all. Fans are just how their success is measured. But what we are doing here together is literally an us thing, and that's part of, I think, why people find it, relatively easy to support us, much to the chagrin of people who wish that y'all wouldn't. But because, everything that we do, we just focus on moving it back into that, I mean, I'm so disinclined, it's not like we're running out and buying gold chains and whatever, I think my wife would really appreciate it if I would buy a new pair of jeans, given that I'm told that my jeans are now more holes than fabric. But, I don't care about that. There's a reason why, it's nearly 2:30 in the morning. And as soon as I get off here, we're right on to some of the League of Legion stuff and working on more episodes, because that's the kind of stuff that matters. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be around, in a year or two or three. And that's the kind of stuff on which we can build. And so, so anyhow, that's all for tonight. But it looks like crypto. Somebody had suggested they'd noticed that some of the fan art was really good. That girl who sent in that drawing of Dynamique really did a great job, and um, and so there's been some other great fan art. And so what I think we're going to do is we're actually going to Crypto Fashion is going to sponsor a competition or something, and but we'll talk about that when it gets to that point. Anyhow, I'm glad, sorry if this was a little bit focused on technical details and all. I know that's not always of interest to everyone, but hopefully you have a better understanding of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why you might want to consider getting involved. So I'm Vox Day, and this is the Darkstream.